bear visit my bird feeder yesterday. This time he didn't take it though. There's just a giant tooth hole in the side.
Oh, really? Are they like they're New Jersey bears? They're like
Oh
how you
yeah,
call
we
them?
get
Yeah.
lots of them. Yeah. Um, you guys had crazy weather though, right? I was it spring break just now or something? There was apparently a backlog of flights and cancellations of airplanes all across the country today because of weather in Florida.
Yeah, there's been these storms going across the southern part of Florida, and that's what they were threatening. Were coming down and getting to us here in the top of the Keys, but fortunately, at least so far, the warning was 4 o'clock till
I'm
eight
not
o'clock,
seeing it
and
on YouTube.
I think it's missed us.
It just now went on there.
As you can see, it's nice outside. So
It seems gorgeous.
yeah, it's not so gorgeous that way actually. If I could point the camera there, I can't quite get there, but it's a little dark and menacing. We had it was thundering and all kinds about half an hour ago.
Well, still, I see sunlight, and all I know is that when I wake up in the morning here, we're still in the 30s.
Yeah, yeah, we don't have a problem.
So, what we've got here today on Talk Right, this is where we invite lots of our authors to join us, but we had multiple messages saying I can't make it for this or that reason. So it may just be us. So we might just have to freewheel it.
We're just swing it.
Well, Wayne here, along with Cap Daniels, who will be our guest next month, recently went on a fantastic cruise, and I think everyone would be curious to know more about the exact type of vessel, since we got a lot of boaters, and where you went.
Oh yeah, we had a great time. First off, if you see my mouth moving and it doesn't match up with what I'm saying, it's because I don't have a beard to cover up the lag that my crappy computer has. But yeah, we went on a 7-night cruise in the British Virgin Islands and Eastern Caribbean aboard the Star Flyer. It's part of the Royal Clipper or Star Clipper cruise lines, Star Clipper cruise line. And Star Flyer is a 370-foot 4-masted schooner. She's not fully rigged like her sister ship, Royal Clipper, but she has the foremast has the big square sail, or the main mast has the big square sails, and the rest are all triangular sails. So she points upwind pretty good. And we started out in St. Martin, and overnight we left 10 o'clock at night. And overnight we just went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and finally made landfall in Anguilla the next morning. But it's more about the sailing than where we went, because where we went weren't like tourist attractions. They drop anchor in a small cove, and we take the tenders to the beach and just hang out on the beach, then go back to the ship and sail all night again. But we went to Anguilla, Jost Van Dyke, Tortola, Norman Island, Beef Island, St. Kitts, and St. Bart's. And St. Bart's was the highlight for me because we spent the whole day there. And I wanted to go see Jimmy Buffett's Autour du Rocher, his old bar and restaurant. But somebody told me that, well, I knew it burned down back in the 90s, but somebody told me that they'd built an estate there now, and there just wasn't anything to see except some rich guy's house. But I think the big takeaway for me was the sailing. The captain despised the engine. He hated engines. He likes wind power. But the cruise line requires him to start the engine when coming into an anchorage or leaving an anchorage. Well, he'd start it, but he never put it in gear. He sailed off anchor and dropped sails and came coasting to a stop to drop the anchor every time. And it was just incredible. The crew was really nice, very professional, never wanted for anything. Dan and I had such a great time. He even married a couple on the ship. The captain was busy all of a sudden and couldn't perform the ceremony. And lo and behold, our own Cap Daniels is an ordained minister and a licensed sea captain. So we're sailing out of St. Kitts, and he assigned me location duty because a marriage at sea has to take place in international waters. And so I've got my GPS and I'm watching, he's continuing talking and I'm watching, and finally he looks over and says, "Are we in international waters now?" And I said, "Yes, we are," by about 3 seconds of arc. But yeah, it was great fun. And I really want to do it again. They sailed the week after we got back, they sailed again through the same islands. And then after that, they did a relocation cruise, which is from St. Martin to, I don't know where in Europe, someplace in Europe, but they sailed straight across the Atlantic Ocean, all the way under sail, enter the Straits of Gibraltar, and then they do cruises all around the French Riviera and Italy and the Turkey, the islands, Crete, and just everywhere.
Do they
And
allow
then-
passengers on the relocation sail?
Yeah, yeah. They had 22 of the passengers that were on our cruise were staying for the next cruise, and 10 of those were staying for the next cruise and the Atlantic crossing. So that would be really, really incredible. 16 days at sea and not sighting any land. You don't stop. They've got everything on board. The max passengers is 143 or 142, but it can be expanded to 173 because some of the cabins have little Pullman pull down bunks, but they don't usually do that. We only had 82. So the ratio of crew to passenger was almost 1-to-1. And it was just a fantastic experience. And maybe we'll all do it next year. A tropical authors cruise.
Well, who we got here? Oh, we got Paul Mila. Let me quickly welcome Don Rich. You just had a book come out,
How you doing,
right?
guys? Yeah, just last week. Yeah, definitely. Sorry to interrupt there. I've been trying to get my camera to work.
Oh yeah, no worries. I was talking to Don. Don's had a book come out, and we'll talk to Paul here in a moment.
That's fine.
I did. Yeah, I had Coastal.
There
Jury
it
come out.
is.
Coastal
Yes.
Jury.
Yeah. And,
Good
I
work,
saw
Dave.
a cool ad with a body in the water.
that's actually a guy floating. I put the book over the guy's Panama hat as he was floating to make him look like a body.
Yeah, well, I thought this guy seems to be enjoying his death.
That's what I thought. I was gonna put a comment on there like, "What, you killed a sunbather?" What's going on?
Hey, I'm good at killing off people.
Yes, you are. I'm not saying anything bad about you, Don. You'll kill me again.
Don't tempt me.
Paul, did you get your camera worked out?
Unfortunately, I can't seem to start the video here.
Move your mouse around and you'll see a little pop-up menu on the bottom,
Yeah.
and you'll see a little camera icon with a red circle. Click on that and it should turn it on.
Let's see. It says start video, but I can't seem to start it. Oh, wait a minute. There's another. Actually, okay. Let's try that. Zoom cloud meeting. Let's try. Okay. Start the video. Look at this.
That was
Now
pretty
start
funny.
the-
It seemed like when he tried to start his, he stopped everybody else's.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt here. I'll just have to just kind of like tag along, and for some reason it won't start the video. I'm sorry. I don't know what's going
No
on.
worries.
The techno gremlins have gotten me.
You're not the first to appear with just a name there. Jinx was just a picture.
Well, so we've had Paul Mila join us. Paul sets a lot of his books in Cozumel, which is dear to my heart.
Yeah.
I should quickly point out that Eric Chance Stone, trop rocker and author, is currently in Cozumel and apparently listened to my narration of his audiobook that I'm still editing while in the pool. He
I
sent
saw
me
that
photos.
picture he posted. That's
Yeah,
insane.
he's on the edge of the pool, and I'm like, oh boy, keep that laptop away.
You know where he's
But Paul, you've got a new one. Is it out now?
Yeah, it just came out. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it just came out actually. I was going to start to promote. I didn't really mean to start it, to release it so soon, but I didn't really click the right buttons in the right order. So it got uploaded and it's live, which is okay. Yeah, so it's Fugitive in Paradise, and it's basically about this mob accountant kind of embezzles money from his boss, which is not a good idea if you're in the mob. So his boss puts a hit out on him. He wants to invest in the same hotel project that his boss is investing in, which happens to be in Cozumel, and has to go into the witness protection program, and gets bored with living in New Mexico. Who wouldn't? Rattlesnakes and deserts. So he wants to get out to the Caribbean, where he winds up eventually down in Cozumel, and then it takes off from there also. But yeah, so that's kind of like the premise of the story. And what's interesting about it is that I know some people who actually were in that kind of life and in that kind of business of either prosecuting the wise guys or some wise guys. And if you remember the movie Goodfellas,
Yeah.
remember at the end of the movie, Henry Hill is with his wife, and they're trying to get into the witness protection program, and they're being interviewed by this fella who's named Edward McDonald, who actually was a real prosecutor, who was invited to be a consultant for the movie. And they saw him, they said, you're a good looking guy, you're pretty talented, why don't you read for the part? He got the part. So if you look at Goodfellas, that fellow Edward McDonald is actually the real Ed McDonald who prosecuted Henry Hill and a number of mob wise guys. Happens to be a high school buddy of mine, so he kind of like appears in the book, and also gave me
great.
technical
Very
guidance
cool.
about what to say and what not to say, and what the terminology was and everything else, And then
Now we know why your video doesn't work.
yeah, I better not start my. Anybody want to start my car for me? Anyway, and then. As it turns out, when I was scuba diving one day, which led me to go back and do some research and everything else and make the story happen. One of the fellows I was scuba diving with happens to be a retired U.S. Marshal who worked in the WITSEC Witness Security Program, and he gave me more advice about how it really works, how you get into it, what happens in that life, and stuff like this. So I had a lot of good technical advisors who found their way into the book. And so it made it kind of interesting and made it a little more realistic. So I'm just going to start. You'll probably be seeing it around in the Tropical Authors website pretty soon and other places. So I'm pretty excited about it.
Give us the listeners the name of it again.
It's Fugitive in Paradise.
Cool.
And so we'll see how it. And the fugitive happens to be a fellow, like I said, who flees the mob, flees the witness protection program, and ends up in Cozumel. And as it turned out, part of the storyline is that this hotel they're trying to build, and the mob is investing in. They've gone international, so they're looking for new opportunities, and they find this beach in Cozumel, Palancar Beach, which is a beautiful beach they want to build this hotel casino on. And as it turns out, after I almost finished the book, I'm down there in Cozumel, and I see this big sign behind one of the piers we used to dock on for our safety stop. It said private property, no trespassing. I did some research, and it turns out that the very beach in the story that I'm talking about building this mob-backed hotel casino, somehow they got approval by God knows how they did it, because you can basically almost bribe anybody to do anything down there in the wild, southern hemisphere. There actually is being a hotel being built on that same site. So the talk about like truth being stranger than fiction. So as it turns out, there really is a hotel being built on the site that I'm talking about in the movie, in the book. I wish it was a movie. So that's where it's going.
Hey, Nick, we've got in our audience on YouTube, Trav is on here, who won the Graceless giveaway.
Oh, cool.
How you doing, Trav? He says he doesn't know how it works, but he's on and watching. No, you don't have to do anything. All you got to do is watch.
Well, and if you have questions, we would love them, because we're a little understaffed, and it'll give us something to go with. I tell you what, I'm going to bring up a little subject because I've seen a bit about this. And since we've got authors on here, I think maybe this would be something to chat about, which is returns. Yes. Shortly after Don Rich mentioned this to me, I all of a sudden started seeing news reports in the UK and the Euro News, not over here yet, one of the titles was, "Is Amazon bankrupting its authors?" or something to that effect. But I guess there's been this sort of surge on TikTok of, hey, you should just return your book after you read it all the way to completion. And for our viewers watching this, if you return a book, an ebook on Amazon within, is it 7 days or 14 days? Basically, if you return it right after you read it, we don't get any money at all. Amazon's not refunding you that money. We are.
But Paul Mila will show up at your door.
That's right.
With my friends, yes.
Meet my little friend.
But I didn't know if anyone had any particular knowledge or numbers or anything to share that if there's been a boost or a bump of returns.
I've been meaning to look at mine, but right now I'm in the last 2 weeks of writing Man Overboard, and the slight screw up in the changing of planes in Miami last week put me a whole day behind. We ended up renting a car and driving home. But I haven't checked mine yet, but I've heard a lot of people saying that their returns are up a whole lot.
Do authors get notified about returns?
Yeah, Amazon returns.
Okay, but do you get notified that it's been returned?
Yeah, if you go to your dashboard and you look under monthly, you can see them.
Okay.
Otherwise, you
don't get notified. They don't tell you.
No.
I went
just
from an
all of a sudden
average of
have it?
1 or 2 a month to a couple of dozen last month. And another author on Tropical Authors, I'm not going to say who, went from just a couple every month to over 130.
Oh my!
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder how high mine is.
Huh.
I bet it's up there. Because this person, they were reading through that person's series. They read through my series. I saw numerous ones where they were doubled up and tripled up. So
We got Bill Black in the house.
How cool is
Treasure
that?
hunter extraordinaire.
Yeah. Hey, Bill.
All right, we got a lag. Give us a
What about-
topic. Are there any
What about
questions
you,
in YouTube?
Brittnick? Have you noticed any returns? High number of returns last month?
I don't have enough data yet. Don brought it up the other day, and last month wasn't too bad. It was just kind of the normal couple. So not much of a trend, but the beginning of this month started with quite a lot more, considering it's more than last month already in the first 3 days. But, that could be, I had quite a lot of sales last month because I had a release. So it could be just the end of that phase. We'll see. So later this month, we should be able to get a little more data. And
Yeah, that article that I read, it actually went through each book retailer's return policy. And most of them were pretty simple, pretty cut and dry. All sales are final. And if you have a problem with the download or a corrupted file or something, they will replace it. But most of them don't allow returns at all. So it'll be interesting to see how it turns out.
yeah, hopefully they're going to make a big stink about it, and kind of like Audible Gate, something may come of it at the end of the day.
Do customers have to give any reason why they're returning a book?
No.
Huh.
Well, that we don't know. I mean, I've never tried to return a book to Amazon, so I could only speak to secondhand.
I think you click a button, of what it means, but you don't have to go into detail.
Yeah, but like those returns you had, Nick, where all 5 books were returned on the same day.
Yes, I don't tend to have a lot of returns, and then
That's obviously the same person.
after Don told us about this, I found book 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 all returned on exactly the same day. And I suspect they were probably all purchased on that same day and then ripped. And then the Moby files are probably on some pirate page somewhere.
Yvonne Edwards asks if this is in reference to physical books or ebooks. We're talking about Kindle ebooks.
Yeah, we're talking about ebooks, definitely. And this happens in the audio world too, just for our listeners here, that audiobooks can be returned. And it used to be, if it happened within a year, we would have the royalties taken out of our pockets and we wouldn't see the money even if someone listened to it. It's now 1 week. So you could listen to the book, return it, use the credit on the next book, listen to it, return it, et cetera, et cetera. So here's my request to anyone watching this. If you want to return the book because you need more credits or something, wait a month. Just wait a month, ebooks or audiobooks. That way Amazon eats it, we don't.
I like that advice. Unfortunately, you can't do that to my audiobooks on Audible because I don't have any. And I will say it's been 3 months now, and everything has now turned over, and I'm making just as much through Findaway as I was through Audible. Every bit as much. So it's not all in one basket. Findaway goes through 41 different retailers, probably more than that now. That was when I started a year ago. But I'm really happy. I sleep a lot better at night.
So I've got a question for you guys. How many of y'all are doing hardcovers? This is my first hardcover. I just did this one, and I'm really impressed with it, and I like it. I like the quality of it. Of course, it's a little more expensive, but I've already had requests for some signed ones that are waiting on them to show up here.
Are they doing author copies on hardbacks now? Because they weren't when they first came out.
Yeah, this one, if you look, you can see it right there, the strip.
Yeah, but that's different. So
The proof. Okay, yes, they are doing author copies on those.
okay, because they weren't at the beginning. I know, Wayne, you were waiting for them to come up with that, right? So you could do signed ones and sell them. So I did a couple of hardbacks. I've got it on my first book, and at the time Spanish Bay Reef was coming out, so I did it on Spanish Bay Reef. And but I haven't been checking. I should have checked. If they're doing author copies, I wanted to get some to do some signed ones to sell.
Yvonne asks how an ebook is returned. Because her Kindle only holds so many. Rather than return it, all you have to do is touch the cover on your carousel and remove from device. That just puts it right back up in the cloud. You don't have to return it. You can just remove it from your device. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and it'll still be in your library. So if you decide someday in the future, oh, I'd really wish I still had that, you do still have it. And then you can basically go and re-upload it to your device.
We're getting a whole lot more questions on YouTube than we ever do.
I know, I'm spending half my time chatting over there. So part of Yvonne's question, she was saying she has a limit of like 10. Well, that's probably because she's in Kindle Unlimited. So in Kindle Unlimited, you borrow the book.
Yeah.
You're not purchasing it. So we get credit for the pages you read of our book on Kindle Unlimited, and they max it at 10. So when you return one from Kindle Unlimited, when you're grabbing another book, that's not a return like we're talking about. It's fine. You're just it's like taking it, think about it, taking it back to the library and getting another book. So.
Good.
And Bill Black asked about how much does that pay? For most of my books, which are 70,000 words, I was making $1.30 to $1.40 for a complete read through Kindle Unlimited, which is okay if my books were priced at $2.99, but that's the same regardless of whether a book's priced at $2.99 or $9.99. The page reads pay exactly the same, which is one of the reasons why I left KU.
Let's see. I got nothing. I normally have a whole list. We were supposed to have so many folks. Oh, I know we're going to talk about real briefly. As you all may know, we had a multi-author project called Graceless. And Wayne and the two Nicks and John Cunningham are working on Timeless. but we also have some more in the hopper. Timeless is about halfway finished through the first pass. And I believe Shameless, which has, help me out here, Brittnick. Hicknick has the question here for you. Is it Becker, Chris Niles? Who else is on Shameless?
Doug Pratt and David Behrens. Behrens has done his part. It's with Chris, I believe, now. And then it goes, I think, Doug, then Stephen.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And Don, you were working on one. I think there were some issues. Is that correct? Or were you involved?
Yeah, I was involved. There was some time issues, so that got shelved for now.
Gotcha. Okay.
And Timeless is on pre-order on Amazon. It's on pre-order Amazon, Barnes and Noble, Apple, Google, and Kobo. And it'll be released on August, what, Nick? August 23rd?
Don't remember.
Something like that, 21st, 23rd, somewhere around there.
It's
Dog's
late
barking.
August.
Yeah.
Oh, and Graceless was a novella. This is
A novel.
What we've written so far is almost as long as Graceless, I think.
Yeah, it is longer.
Already longer. Wow.
Might be. Yeah, no. Well, John will take it over. Yeah.
Yeah.
Over that. But it's fun. I started it, and so I have the easy part because I just write whatever I want to write. And then they have to deal with it, which is it's a little
This
bit
one I
more
definitely had
complicated.
a you son of a bit coming out of my mouth reading it. I was like, oh, how am I going to do this?
Yeah, well, we didn't want to do the same thing again, right? And just repeat Graceless,
No.
but we've got a protagonist that.
What you mean, as in same as in easy to follow on to the next section?
Wait till you get it,
You
Wayne.
know we're on the air.
What's the price of this one?
99 cents right now on pre-order.
Yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, it'll go up obviously because it's full novel. It'll go up once it's released, but right now on pre-order, it's at 99 cents on all the platforms.
Cool.
Yeah.
This is some feedback. I read Graceless. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was
Oh,
pretty
thank
good.
you.
I paid most of the attention to Nick's section on Cozumel because I wanted to make sure he got it all right. It was good.
And
Yeah.
and they briefly visited your condo complex.
That's right. Yeah, so it was fun. It was a fun read.
Yeah,
And
for
it was seamless. The transitions
Seamless.
were seamless.
Hey, that's a good title.
Just seamless.
Trav asked a question on YouTube, says, how about have a contest in which a fan can win a cameo in the book? I did that on the cruise.
I just did that too, actually. I've got a reader called Phil Giles has got a role in my next book that I'm writing right now. So once he won it, I informed him that he's not going to know whether he's a good guy or a bad guy till the book comes out.
We
Along
could
with Cap
do that.
Daniels and I, we had 6 of my readers, and they all knew ahead of time that one couple would be chosen at random to be characters in the next book. And the couple that won was Doug and Lynn Stebbins, right, Jordan?
Yeah.
And they're a husband and wife law firm, or they used to be. They're retired now. But in my next book, Cast Off, they will be lawyers specializing in maritime law in St. Bart's. So
Perfect.
Wow.
I'm really looking forward to writing this.
So that's a good subject. So you've done it before, Wayne. I know, Nick, you have. You've got who's had cameos of people they know or used names of people they know in their books.
I have.
Yeah, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
I had a bunch in this one. I've only done 1 or 2 in the past, but this time I had a whole bunch partly because I needed some expert people who knew what was going on, and they happened to fit. Their backgrounds were dovetailed with the storyline, so I stuck them in. So I must have had like 10 people, almost, maybe not 10, maybe 7 or 8 people who were actually real people, but whose backgrounds were suitable for the storyline, so that they kind of fit in seamlessly. It's been kind of a lot of fun. And what I found in the past is that if I've included somebody in a story like that, they are better salesmen than I am. So because of the story, they'll sell 10, 20 copies to all their friends. So,
You not only get your friends and family to buy the book, you get all your characters' friends and families to buy the book.
exactly.
That's great marketing, dude.
Yeah.
It's more fun if you kill them.
Hey,
Yeah, I have
Makes a great
two.
threat.
I have two friends who are writers themselves who are my harshest beta readers. And they had so many notes for me on a particular book that I decided to put them both into the book and kill them. And then the next book, one of them he was right, and I took his notes, but it required such a rewrite. I created the Spanish version of his name and put him into that book and killed him again.
Don, have
In my
you've
first
had, right,
book, I
Don?
got tired of making up names. So in the second one, I asked all my Facebook friends who wants to be in the book. And I got a whole bunch of responses. So I just made two lists, one male, one female. And as a new character came up, I just assigned that first next name in the list. And one by one, I had to get rid of all of them. Well, all except one. There's still one character from my second. Actually, she was in the first novel, and she's been in every single novel since then. A girl that lives down the street, used to live down the street from me. We went to high school together. But it's fun adding real people and real characters and real situations.
You know what I did in this book is that at the end in the afterwards section, I said I have a little section called "Who's Who in the Cast," and I actually asked them to send me a photograph of themselves, and I have like a one word, one sentence bio of them, who they are, whatever, with their picture in it. So they're actually their photos. We actually go into in the back of the book in the afterwards section. So we'll see how that turns out as far as future sales.
Bill Black has offered anybody who wants to do research on treasure hunting that they can come down and work for him for free. I'm going to have to take you up on that, Bill. Just
gotta
for,
say,
just
that's
for the
actually
experience
kind of
sometime.
tempting.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
really
hell yeah, it
tempting.
would be.
Huh. Maybe
I
that should be a
did a-
group thing we do.
I did a whole lot of diving right down along that whole treasure coast. Dove 8 or 9 of the 1715 fleet wreck.
Mm.
Of course, I didn't take anything.
Well, since we're just freewheeling in here with our 5, let me ask something. Something I really wanted to do, but then COVID came along and kicked our butts, was the Key West Mystery Fest. But now, as I understand it, Wayne, the fellow that used to run it he's done very well for himself, and maybe he won't do one again. But I thought, well, we have so many authors and tropical authors now, we might be able to do the Key West Mystery Fest collectively ourselves. How many people would be interested in doing that, I wonder?
That would
And
be
to
a
the
whole lot
YouTube
of
watchers,
fun.
how many would come to it?
That would be a whole lot of fun. We could get all those writers together. We all stay at the same place. There's several great locations that have conference rooms available.
That would
And
be fun.
we rent a conference room for a couple of nights or a couple of days, all day. We just sit down and drink rum and talk, and then we let the readers come in.
And are there some bookstores in Key West where we could rotate, like during this span of time, these 2 TA guys will go over there and have a table, and then during this span of time, 2 other people come in and take over the table?
There was a bookstore in Key West. I think it's called Key West Books. I'm not sure, but they had a working agreement with Key West Mystery Fest, and authors could provide copies of their books, and they would put them up on display tables and for everybody to come and look at and buy a copy. And
Cunningham has a place down there.
John would definitely know who that is.
Yeah, he has a bookstore that he does signings. Might be the same one, Wayne.
And Yvonne wants to know when the next Deep book's coming out, Nick.
Yeah, when's that coming out, Nick?
You're starting to
I
get pressured,
just
aren't
gave
you?
you one. I'll quickly say that if you read Deep Focus, Boone and Emily spent a lot of time at the Little Cayman Beach Resort, and I have been talking to Michael Tibbetts, who is descended from some of the early Caymanites. And my next book's going to be set in Turks and Caicos, and I may be hanging out at a new resort by the same people that do Cobalt Coast and Little Cayman Beach Resort. And I don't have a plot yet. I need a plot before I can start. So soon. But unfortunately, I'm the last week I have been working on Zombie Bigfoot's sequel. So that's a little separate thing I got going. Because there's been some effort to get that done as a movie thing and get it into the hands of Bruce Campbell. And I need the sequel for that to work. So that
No,
might delay the Deep, but I'll have one out hopefully by Christmas.
When you called me the other day to say that you might not be here tonight because you had a part to, and we're going to fly to Hungary and just leave us all in the lurch like this. You also mentioned that place on South Caicos, and it slipped by me at the time, but I distinctly remember you invited me to come with you.
Well, it could happen. I mean, I could see how many units would get some authors there. Every single one of them would benefit them, and it wouldn't, we would all be spending money on their food and beer and dive trips and things. So
Yeah,
I
I'd
don't
look into it. I'd like
And we could all write about it.
well, I'll check back with him. I told him
Yeah.
because I thought I was going to Budapest. I was like, yeah, I'll talk to you in a couple weeks.
Yeah, let me
June
know.
and
I'm
July
in.
is when it would be.
If it's, even if it's not free, I mean, South Caicos is really cool.
I mean, it was just the lodging is what we're looking at, but everything else I'll pay for. And I'm probably gonna. They have these Newton boats, and they occasionally go over to Grand Turk Wall, and there's a place I want to stay on Grand Turk to do some of my research over there. I'm hoping they'll let me go over and dive the wall and then hop off, and then I'll just fly back at some point.
But you realize if you need some Boone and Emily time, that in August they'll be in Timeless, and
Yes.
and actually in June when Rex of Key Largo comes out, which is my next AJ Bailey adventure, you'll get some Emily time, providing Nick signs off on what I've written about Emily so far.
Yes.
I promise I haven't killed her yet, but I won't probably. So
Jordan and I just finished Angels of the Deep. That was really, really good.
Oh, cool.
She has read all of my books now. She's working on yours.
I
And we're-
finished them.
You finished all of Hicknick's? Okay, now she's working on Brit Nick's.
thanks,
And,
Geordie.
she is she's turned into a readaholic.
Okay.
She didn't read 10 books all through school. And now that she's in college, she's reading 30 books a year.
Geordie will like my Nora series, I think. Something tells me Geordie will like Nora.
And you
I
just
love
had
Nora.
Nora. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, Don.
No, I love Nora. That last book was just incredible.
Thank you.
Nora appears in my Deep Focus book, and I got to say, writing her was the most fun.
She is. She's great fun to write.
What is that? She says, Faye
Finn. Yeah,
Finn.
yeah. My narrator, Kim Bratton, has it down. She has a friend from Norway, and
Oh, really?
calls her up whenever I write anything Norwegian in there. And in the last one, she has this rant that she does in the police car, and the detective is looking at her like, "What? I don't think I want to know what you're saying." And Kim did it really, really well. I think she recorded her Norwegian friend saying it, and then just did it.
Do we have any more questions from the YouTube
They are
channel?
blowing by so fast.
There's
Nick,
one
you probably
person,
got a
Nick.
better handle on them.
Nick, there's one person asking when they're going to get their signed copy of Deep Devil that you promised them.
Who's that? Tell them, however they contacted me before, reach out and do it again. I'm more than happy to fire those off. having-
Yvonne's asking if any of us know Randy Wayne White. She met him a couple of weeks ago, apparently.
We're
wow.
Facebook friends, but I've never met him.
Yeah, she went to a signing at Doc Ford's in St. Pete and met him. Said he's a nice dude. Pat says Timeless is on order. Good man
Oh,
or lady, Pat. Sorry, I'm not sure. There's no, the icon says B, so I'm not sure. Sorry, but nice person, Pat. Thank you. And Pat, I shouldn't get that wrong because Pat also says that they're now working on Britnick's book. So thank you again. Let's see what else we got. Bill.
And we only have about 35 other tropical authors for y'all.
yeah.
yeah.
And we're adding more.
Yeah.
We're gaining traction with some of the retailers too. They're asking questions.
Yeah, I'll throw this out there just for viewers. One of the ways that a lot of us make money every once in a while is Amazon will reach out with offers to put our book in Prime Reading, which is something I've only had happen 2 or 3 times. And Tropical Authors had been out and was getting some buzz, and then all of a sudden, apparently 17 of us got emails offering to put books in Prime Reading
In
all
Prime,
at the same
yeah.
time. So I think Tropical Authors is under the microscope somewhere. And that's what we were
I
hoping
kind
for.
of put a bug in Shay's ear. He's a son-in-law of the guy that sold me the Rite of Passage, but he works for Amazon, and I put a bug in his ear about the Tropical Authors, and he started reading some of our books, and he's read all of mine. He's read all of yours and all of Harvey's, and he's a real fan of the Tropical Author movement, and I think that had something to do with it.
Oh, I wonder if the timing, when was that? I think that was in August or September that happened.
We were talking about it. I guess it had to have been August, because it was, I'd called him about a problem I was having with the release of Steady As She Goes. So yeah, it was probably early August.
That timing works out, actually. That could be. Well done. Thank you, sir.
Here's a good question that just popped up there. Is what do we read as authors for enjoyment? So Paul, are you still on? What do you read?
Yeah, I'm still here. I read some of our own books, obviously, of you fellas, and some ladies who are on Tropical Authors also. And occasionally I might read a nonfiction book just to shake things up and just for a different change of pace. That usually has to do with diving or some kind of a real life adventure or something like that. But I try and read people who write similar type books to get some ideas and maybe learn some new techniques, and just kind of get the old brain gelling. And it's kind of like the more you read, the more ideas begin popping in your head. And if you're reading people who kind of write similar, let's call it genre kind of stuff, you kind of like feeds the monster and gets your brain going. So that helps to get another book out.
About you, Don?
I get a lot of advanced reader copies, and end up reading a lot of everybody's stuff and taking notes. But that, and just basically coastal.
I'm the same way. I have so little time to actually read anymore that I used to read a novel a week easy when I was truck driving. And now it takes me 2 months sometimes to read a full novel. So it's pretty much the core group that we have here. And a little bit of Becker and a little bit of Reisig.
Oh yeah.
I'd say I nowadays, yes, it's the Tropical Authors. I also have some friends of mine who were actors like myself, who COVID basically shut them down completely. And I've convinced some of them to write. One of them has 6 novellas in the steampunk genre that are hilarious. and he's going to come out. So I end up reading mostly things from friends, but I do enjoy. I read Devil in the White City recently, and oh, it was so good about the I can't remember the year, but it was a World's Fair in Chicago, and there was a serial killer there and assassinations, and it's crazy what happened during that.
I read that book. Yeah, it was a great book.
And every once in a while I'll read some fantasy because I used to be interested in that. And I know a guy who's friends with Robert McCammon, who's sort of, I think he's better than Stephen King, but he's just doesn't have the popularity, and he's got some really good writing. But honestly, 9 times out of 10, I'm reading a tropical author book.
Yeah. The group we get, as Don said, we get so many beta copies from the other authors. You kind of reading through that stuff, I find a lot of the time. And then I try and pick something in between. I read a lot of World War II historical fiction and nonfiction, which I like a lot. I'm actually reading Andrew Mayne's Sea Storm at the moment, which I really enjoyed his first 2 books, in a very similar vein to a female protagonist, very similar to Hicknick and my books, I feel like. She's a underwater investigator for the police in Florida. And I thought they were really good, the first 2. And the third one here is Sea Storm. And to be honest, it's really disappointing. I don't, I mean, he's big. He puts out a lot of books in a lot of different genres and stuff like that. I'm not sure if he's using ghostwriters or what have you. If he is, he switched them for this one because it's like, I don't know, it feels like somebody else wrote this book, quite honestly. It's not as crisp and clean as the others.
It's a cruise ship one, right?
Yeah.
Something.
Yvonne asks a really good question, and I'm going to let Jordan answer this one. So you have to speak up.
Cool.
Do you guys remember all your books? Like, do you know what scenes in which book off the top of your head?
No.
That's why I have a Jordan.
How did Don Rich have that book ready to go? You have to say something, Don, so that your picture. There you go.
Here's can you see it now?
Yes.
Did it come up? Did it come up?
Yeah.
I can remember the early books, but after about the 10th one, 8th or 10th one, my memory's fuzzy on all the others. I remember the scenes, but I don't know what book they're in. And sometimes I just have to do a file search.
Yeah.
I know a couple of keywords or a key sentence, and then I'll search all my files for it. And it's in that book. Okay. And
Don is holding up a giant binder that says book details.
Yeah, it's huge. And Wayne mentioned this idea a while back, and I just started writing everything down.
that is incredible.
Wow.
It was your idea.
Yeah.
I was going to pay somebody to do that. You want the job, Don?
Not me.
What that is called
locations.
is a series Bible. And in a series Bible, you have all the details as they occur throughout the entire series. And with a series Bible, Susie's hair or Susie's eye color doesn't change from blue to green 10 books later, which I've been guilty of. I left a granddaughter out. Jesse's got a granddaughter. I forgot.
I have 2 little anecdotes about it. So the way I write, and usually write sequentially, although I do split timelines a lot of the time. Sometimes I'll go down one timeline and write it all and go back. So, but I don't keep going back and reading what I've already written. So I write all the way through. And when I get to the end, I do a read through where I do all my major editing. And sometimes when I'm reading through the book that I've just spent the last 2 months writing, I come across a scene and I'm like, oh, this is good. I forgot I wrote this. And
I'll do that. And it's like, damn, that's pretty good.
Yeah. No, fortunately, normally
that.
it's promising, but it's like, oh, cool. I completely forgot about that. And then the other thing is, we were talking earlier about putting characters, people we know, names in books. Well, in Valley of the Rays, I decided I was going to put in all my schoolmates and stuff, names in there, and friends from when I was young. And I'd combine them. So I'd use a first name of one and a second name of another. And there was one character called Tamsin, and people always want to say Tasman because that's more common, but her name was Tamsin, and I went to school with her, and so she was one of the characters, and she actually turned out to be quite a nasty character. and I hadn't thought about her in years. It was just a name that stood out on Facebook about a month ago. She reached out in this group that's from the school I went to in England, and said, "Hey, I didn't know you were an author and everything." I'm like, yeah, actually, I put you in one of my books. And I told her that she was in Neptune's Wall, so she should get it and read it. Because I forgot she's not. She's in Valley of the Rays.
You should have gotten 5 or 6 books out of her first.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully I've got 2. At some point she's going to come back to me and go, "Well, that was all right, but I didn't see me in it. What's going on?" "Oh, you've got to read Valley of the Rays." Yeah. So I'll tell her.
All right, we have some more questions.
How many people base characters, like combine 2 or 3 people that you've met?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. All the
Different
time.
traits in the same person. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I've met so many people, really strange and exotic people when I lived in the Keys and down in the Caribbean that, yeah, I can morph a whole bunch of people together into one.
I worked in a Broadway show called Newsies, and there were a group of us who were, we were the antagonists to the Newsies, so we called ourselves the Oldsies. I've kept in touch with all of them, and in the Zombie Bigfoot sequel I'm working on, I have a group of people that go out and monster hunt, not really intending anything other than drinking beer and having a reason to go out together. But all of the Oldsies, I'm combining all of their names in different combinations and different traits, which will mean nothing, but when they read it, they're all going to go, "Wait a minute, that's sort of me and sort of him."
Yeah, Nora, my Nora Summer character is actually based off of a male friend of mine who's Finnish, who's our Finnish son, we call him, because he lived with us for a couple of years. And a lot of her characteristics are based off of Marcus, and it's and then kind of rolled in some other stuff. But I was always going to have this Finnish character in my books, and then I wrote Nora, and I'm like, this is just a bit part in Ghost Mountain in AJ's series, so I didn't want to use up this great Finnish character I was going to have. Well, Nora ended up being in 3 more books and then having her own series. So Marcus became Norwegian and female in 19.
One thing I've noticed, maybe it's because we kind of tend to travel through these tropical locations as we, dive into other things, but compared to other parts of the country or the whatever, you tend to meet in the tropics very interesting people with strange, interesting backgrounds, who make fantastic characters. Rather than invent a fantastic character, you just draw on your experience of some people you really met, real life people. And if you're in the tropics enough, like we are, it kind of like lends itself to that.
I feel like I absolutely have to mention, when I was in Little Cayman, we enjoyed the Beach Nuts bar at the Little Cayman Beach Resort, and there was this blonde German girl who was a bartender there, and she knew everything there was to know about the iguanas, because there's a lot of iguanas on Little Cayman. And she even had come here at 8 o'clock on Thursday, and she had a little slide projector and went into detail about the Sister Island iguanas and how they were trying to catch all the green iguanas that were trying to mate with them and destroy them. Well, years later, writing Deep Focus, I reached out to the Little Cayman Museum and sent them an email, and I got an email back from the Little Cayman Museum answering all my questions. But the email just veered off into talking about iguanas. Lots of stuff about iguanas. I'd only asked one little question about iguanas, and it was signed Tanya with a J. I'm like, that's how Germans spell Tanya. And I was like, were you a bartender at the Little Cayman? Well, turns out she was now working for the museum. And this person who was a bartender when I was there ended up being my best resource. And if you read Deep Focus, there is a German called Katja. I said, "Can I please put you in? I'll change your name." But this gal was perfect. I was like, "I got to put you in, and you're going to have bloody scratches on your arms from going into the thickets to catch the green iguanas," because she did.
I kind of figured that had to be a real person.
Oh yeah, she's crazy. I love, and she actually 2 months after I sent her the final beta copy, she won. The governor of the Cayman Islands gave her a Conservationist of the Year award, and I think now she's moving to Grand Cayman to work with the DOE.
Awesome. Well, do we have any more questions? We're down to just a couple of minutes left. Let me jump back on to Nick. Nick, why don't you check YouTube for questions? Every time I click on it, it freezes up my Zoom.
Yeah, your face goes away from time to time.
Yeah, a lot of comments rather than questions, I think, lately. Trying to see if there's anything.
I like your new view.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Someone was asking whether you're a Mennonite, Nick, because you mentioned Mennonite a lot.
My mom is.
Oh, really? Cool.
Ukrainian Mennonite. Yep.
So no, that looks about it. Yeah, thanks, Don. I moved up in the world a couple of spots, so it's it doesn't suck.
It's awesome.
No, it definitely doesn't suck.
Yeah. It's creative environment. Yeah.
Yeah, hell yeah.
We're very
Your
lucky.
page writing count is going to drop like a.
Yeah, you just.
I miss my office over the marina. That's just incredible view.
Yeah, yeah. Looking at water is one of.
Is that where you write right there at that table?
Yeah, I've actually turned this around. Basically, the view you've got in my screen is what I normally have from the other side. So if people don't know, my wife Cheryl and I live in an RV, and we're full time here, and have been here actually in this spot for almost 2.5 years now. And yeah, so the little dinette right here is a slide in the RV. It's only a small RV. It's 26 feet. But it's really well laid out, and it's got this little slide, and it's the dinette. So the dinette is my office. So I sit kitty corner to where I am now, and so that's what I look at as I'm writing. And actually, we had it's cleared now. You can't quite see Rodriguez, so slightly that way is Rodriguez Key, and it's all you can see out there is no more than about 6 feet deep, about as far as you can see. It's really shallow. And there was a sailboat for 2 weeks that had got himself caught at low tide, and he'd got himself caught on a sandbank, and it was like sitting over there, anything between it completely on its side up to about there. And they finally towed it away about a week ago. They managed to get it off the sandbar and get it out of
during the supermoon.
It's probably what got it caught. Yeah, we've had quite a few king tides, so it catches them out. And yeah, just on the edge of Rodriguez Key is a sandbar there. We get a lot at the weekend. It's full of boats that just moor up and stand in waist deep water and get drunk.
Well, the clock on the wall says it's 7:30, and that means dinner's on the table. So I want to thank you guys for being on the show, Paul, Don, Nick.
Thank you.
And as always, Nick. Thanks for not going to Hungary.
This time.
Yeah.
And thanks to our sponsors, Aurora Publicity, Pirate Radio, Down Island Press, Down Island Publishing, How Not to Sail. And next month we'll be on, what's the date? May 4th. Oh, it's Star Wars Day. May the 4th.
Yeah.
Or no, that's May the 5th.
Yeah, I think it's May 2nd.
May 2nd? May 2nd is the show.
Yes.
May 4th is Star Wars Day. Okay. I knew there was something about early May. But our guest will be Cap Daniels. And Cap was our first guest on season 1, episode 1. So he's going to be kicking off season 3, episode 1.
And
It's hard to
his
believe this has
narrator
been
will
2
be
years
here.
now. Yeah, his new narrator. Who is his new narrator?
PJ Auckland.
Yeah.
I think I'm decent with accents. PJ can run rings around me in his sleep. This guy is phenomenal with dialect.
Oh, cool.
So we're going to put
We'll
him
have
through
to
his
get
paces.
into we'll have to get y'all into cutting heads, do some do some accent competition. So anyway, that's it for now, and we'll see everybody next month, and have a good evening.
Cool. Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Appreciate it.